the 4 departments with submitted capital requests. So my recommendation on those should be finished by the end of this week on the capital. Mr. Dow, and I'll get a follow-up from him tomorrow, is getting the budget printed up in the FY03 budget. So once those are completed, printed, and submitted to you for the capital budget, my recommendation to be done by the next week.
And I mentioned earlier, I just want to bring it up for the public. I talked to Mr. Younger earlier, Joe, about a citizen on Volk Street and the signs, and I believe, I don't know, do we have that as an agenda at any?
We'll have that for the 22nd because I received a letter just recently from one of the other abutters in that area for support of that sign.
Now, are we going to have a hearing on this, or is it going to be an open, Joe?
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
On Volk Street, are we going to have a hearing on that? Is it going to be just a public discussion, or what? How is it going to be handled? He mentioned he has a letter from some people also. We were going to put that on the agenda at some point. And
Right, and we can still do that. We could still put that on the agenda. I'm just trying to think of the best way to do it.
I mean, I would assume it would
We
be a
could put it
public
on-
meeting that
It would,
people can
it would.
respond.
I mean, we could put it on for a reconsideration of it. But I would not expect, I mean, we do have a letter in favor of it. Now,
Yes.
well, we had a situation where a person was against.
Right.
Right, but there's other circumstances to go along with that, as you know, we've spoken.
Right.
I don't have a problem with putting that on a future meeting for
Well,
reconsideration.
My understanding is we put it, kind of more or less put it on hold. So we should,
Right, I guess the question is, do we have to address it, as Mr. Murphy just stated? Because my understanding was the situation that arose because of miscommunications, let me put it that way, has been taken care of. And I believe it has, unless you know different, and of course we had a discussion earlier. So I believe that's taken care of, and we do have a letter in support of what was done. I don't know if there's even an issue to readdress it at this point.
You rescinded it. We got a letter in support of what was done, but we rescinded it.
No, we did not vote to rescind it. We did not vote to rescind it. I believe what we voted to do was to look into the situation. Stan, do you remember that?
I thought what we did was,
Put it on hold.
basically, that was my understanding, that we were going to put it on hold until such time as I believe we were going to talk to the safety officer, and we were also going to talk and find out from them what their criteria was, because I think one of the suggestions we had is that they improve, or we felt maybe that they could improve their method of communications to the people that these signs affected.
Right.
So,
Notifications to the abutters, et cetera. We had that whole discussion. Rescind was the wrong word.
I
We put it on hold. We
Okay.
stopped it from going forward.
on hold.
I can tell you that I did. Maybe I shouldn't, but I did. I went forward and I spoke with the safety officer. And I told him our concerns about that, and he did assure me that in the future that he would be doing that. Maybe it was an oversight on his part.
Well, we did put it on hold.
Okay.
Okay, so to me, that we haven't disposed of it if it's on hold. We have to. So my only question would be to bring it up at a future meeting, so that, because if there are people concerned, they can come in and express their concerns. We can have the safety officer, we can discuss it ourselves and then make a decision at that point. That was my only thing, that we should resolve it. And I would assume that we would try to do it just as soon as we could, because if next meeting, that's fine.
Now, I just want to be clear, who will we be notifying on this?
Well, the only parties.
We've only had one complaint that I know of.
We had an individual, and I was just recently received a letter from the Colonnade Condominium Association, which is the office condominiums at the corner of Oak Street.
Right.
And they are in full support of the no parking for safety reasons.
So we will notify them and the complainant.
And I would say the opposite.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, and then it would be on the agenda for the public if they so desired.
Well, either the safety officer or if in fact the chief.
Well, yeah,
or
somebody
one
from
of
the
the
police
safety
department,
officer
right,
to
somebody
give a
that's gonna-
report.
right.
You know, because I do feel there just may have been some miscommunications there, but as you know, Mr. Rhodes, there's other circumstances
Right,
involved
yeah.
in that I wish I had known up front also.
Okay, and
Yes,
now,
Mr. Ross.
also, the telephone poles. We seem to get, nothing's being done on the old telephone poles.
I'm not gonna argue with
I
you.
mean, what, are we gonna do something? I mean, we've discussed this a few times, I'm still getting people calling about them. The town still, to me, I mean, nothing against you, John, but you talk about color scheme on a business building, and we've got junky looking poles all over town for years. I think we should, take some action on it. I guess you don't want to discuss it.
Exit stage left.
Settle, huh?
We had one go for coffee.
He's going out to remove some of the poles.
I want to wait till he comes in before I make a recommendation. I'm going to contact my company.
He's got the pole there.
Welcome back, Mr. Young.
Yes, actually, Mr. Chairman, this is nothing's being done, it's not exactly a correct.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
nothing that I know of.
Okay. As I stated in the previous meeting, the fire department is looking into removing the wires regarding the alarm issues, being the first one to go. I received a report back from the chief of police, the fire chief, which ones were removed and which ones are being addressed, because the first one's got the fire alarm wires on. So they have addressed those issues. I'm weekly meeting with Chief O'Brien tomorrow morning to discuss this for the final implementation of it. There have been some, since then, that have been removed, so we began with the fire department.
Okay.
But what about the other wires that, Reading Light kind of said, we were in a catch-22, it wasn't their wires and they couldn't do anything and we didn't know what we could do and.
The only thing I could suggest is that maybe we shoot another letter down to Reading Light, expressing our concern again. I know right now they have
They're kind of busy.
some big items on their plate right now, and I don't really think these poles are gonna be addressed
Well,
until that issue is answered.
We had, Mr. Younger had gotten us some copies of the laws from other towns that
Right.
have rules and regulations where there is enforcement, there's a penalty.
Right.
And I understand Reading Light's attitude at the time was, find us all you want, it just goes on your rate, so we don't care. But I still think that, we should try to proceed on that basis, that we should set up a policy, and we should try to find out, as far as cable and telephone, if Reading Light says, those are telephone, they're not our wires, well, okay, what can we do about it? What can we do to make the telephone company move or the cable company move faster to get these things corrected? I just think that we should pursue it and get something done.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, I think those two communities, those were bylaw issues, and I recommended that if you wanted to, you place them on the issue of bylaw warrant.
I would like to also comment that I was the one that spoke to Mr. Rucker about this, and I don't want to say the attitude was that, but what he did say to me was that if a fine was levied against Reading Light, that it would ultimately be the ratepayers who paid it. And he wasn't even sure at that time if that was allowable to do so. So I don't know the answer to that. What I can suggest to you, and I'm not saying this to put this off in any mean, shape, or form, Mr. Rucker did avail himself to come to a meeting and explain the situation. He told me he would do that, as to why they can't just move those poles. I have no problem asking him to do that, and he could probably answer your question for you, Mr. Rowe, much better than I could, because I can't answer it. But again, I'm sure it'll be few weeks or months before we can get him up here to answer that question. Mr. Rowe?
Okay, well, Mr. Younger had gotten information from some other towns that had bylaws, that had fines.
Right.
And if Reading Light or Mr. Ruck, if they can't get in here, I would like to see us have something ready for this, warrant article for this town meeting. That,
I don't
you
have
know,
a problem with that.
That we can, but I would like to try to also, at the same time, you know, because apparently, and I'm not too sure, I don't have them in front of me, but I think they just said telephone poles, and I'd like to find out if there is something that we could do as far as to see to it that if it's the cable company or if it's the telephone company, you know, or our own fire alarm, that those responsible be penalized or be fined, so that we don't just turn around and put it on Reading Light and then have our own ratepayers foot the bill.
I don't know the answer, but the only thing I can comment on is, in the bylaw that was passed in Chelmsford and Wilmington, it was the owner of the pole. That's how they passed the bylaw. That's, it was in our packet, it was the owner of the pole. You could not install on cable unless home owned the pole.
Well, like I said, I'd like to go forward as soon as we can and get as much information, and at least get this thing started, because it's you know.
Right. I have no problem with the wording on the bylaw.
Yes.
And then, when he's available, I'll bring Mr. Rucker up, because I know he will come and answer all questions. Mr. Younger.
Just to repeat to the board, the major parties, it's not RMLD wires. Verizon and cable TV. Verizon's the first one, cable's the second one. As far as the fire alarm, the major ones right now are on Central and Chestnut, and we are addressing those in January, in fact, this month. So we was hoping to get those up, and that's why I think Verizon and the two major ones. I don't know, yeah, I think only Yancey has 12 poles that are actually, they're double wires.
That's all I have.
Mr. Muldoon.
Mr. Chairman, I spoke to John Desimone, who's the chairman of the Elementary School Building Committee this week. They are moving forward on their activities. $46,000 was appropriated at town meeting for some of the activities they were engaged in. $6,000 for Swan Pond School septic system. They are within 10 days going to be going forward with those tests. And the $40,000 was for a feasibility study for the bachelor. They have chosen an architect, Michael Rosenfeld of West Acton, and they are going forward over the next few weeks. They're having their meetings to try and go over exactly what this final rendition will be for the bachelor. And John would like to request some agenda time in our next meeting, sometime after 8:30 in the evening, to update the entire board on their activities. So I would ask that we allow them to have that time. Other than that, I have nothing else.
Mr. Murphy.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know how this gets addressed. The railroad ban, and that was finally passed by the legislature. So how is it that we go about addressing that issue? Is that something that Mr. Younger handles? Is that something the board needs to do, or?
You mean addressing as far as purchasing?
Yeah.
Mr. Younger.
Next step is that we need to commission an independent appraisal of the property to determine if there is any sale value involved with it according to legislation. We cannot use Mr. Simmons because, quote, it's not considered independent by the statute. Otherwise, it would utilize him at no cost. So we would have to go out, and we're in the process of trying to get quotes for the appraisal. Once that is done and we determine how much the appraisal would cost, we would have to